I'm at Up and Running in Basingstoke, where I'll be getting my gait analyzed and hopefully walking away, or should I say, running away, with a new pair of shoes. I'll also be asking Nicola a lot of questions in this video to figure out what's the deal with gait analysis, and how does it help you pick out a pair of shoes.
So looking at your feet, you've got short, wide feet because of that bunion in the front on both feet.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually slightly wider on that left side, so we want to make sure there's enough volume in there. Mid to low arch, but they're not too bad actually.
So you're as I say, because your core's quite strong, you're fairly stable, but we'll have a look, it can change when you're putting a little bit more pressure on the treadmill. We're basically looking at all three of your gait cycles, so we're looking at the initial landing, whether that's heel, mid-strike, or if you're further forward to your toes. Then obviously we're going to look at your midpoint, because that's where you put the most pressure down, and then obviously that toe off is where your propulsion is coming.
Yeah.
So we're then looking at the whole cycle in itself when you're on the treadmill.
Okay. Have you been running for a while then, as well?
I've been running about 10 years now. I only started running when I met my now husband. He was a runner, done lots of marathons, and when I moved down here, he's like, "Oh, I'm just going to be doing the Great North Run." I was like, "Oh, that sounds good." Half marathon. I was just like, "Have you done any running?" Yeah, not really, but yeah, I'm sure it's fine. So yeah, I got into running through him.
Did you?
And then I kind of went through a stage where, you know, I trained for that, got through that, and I was like, "Oh, that's amazing." But then I kind of just ran when I had an event.
Sure.
Now, over the last couple of years, I run because I love to run.
I felt the ground underneath me, carrying me along into the non-existent English sunset. What would Nicola find? That I'm the next long-distance all-star? Or would Nicola be appalled by my stubby toes and knobbly bunions as they smacked along the flying rubber?
So what we're looking at the whole gait, as I say, we're looking at where you're landing first. Is it heel? Is it mid? Is it toe? And then we're looking where you're putting your pressure point. As I say, if there's an overpronation, neutral, or if you're underpronating. So you're actually landing on your toes.
Yeah.
Do you feel that that's generally where you land? You sometimes land slightly differently on the treadmill, but you're kind of landing definitely on the outside, so in a slightly supinated position on the outside there. Then coming in, there's a little bit of movement. Everybody's foot will move. Pronation is a natural movement of the foot. You want there to be a little bit of flex in the foot. If it's too rigid, it's not good. You know what we're really kind of looking at. So if you're overpronating, it's basically coming much further in across your big toe. Yeah. So that rotation there can cause a rotation, and then you can put too much pressure all through your feet and everything. Underpronation, which is kind of what you're doing. Yeah. You're landing on the outside there, so there's you kind of need a little bit more cushion just to absorb that shock, because you're landing quite far out on the edge there. And then if you're neutral, it just means you're coming down flat, going straight across, and getting that propulsion in the toe there. So that's kind of what we're looking at when we're going through all the gait analysis. It's very much what's comfortable for the runner. Looking at the relationship between the runner, the shoe that they're wearing, and what they're using the shoe for. Yeah. So, some neutral runners that don't have any kind of, they've just got a natural flex of the foot, will run in a far more supportive shoe because that's what they like the feel of. Okay. They may not need the added support, but if that's what they enjoy running in, it's very much listening to the runner, listening to what their injury histories are, looking at what they're looking to get out of the shoe, what they're going to be training for. So that's really, it's all very important. Comfort is important, and what you're getting out of the shoe is just as important as what I can see on the screen. Cool.
So what I got out of my gait analysis with Up and Running and working with Nicola was these shoes, is what I got. And honestly, I don't even know, they're New Balance, but I don't actually know the name of the shoe because it's worn off. And I notoriously throw away my shoe boxes as soon as they come into the house. So there goes that sponsorship with New Balance. Just kidding, I don't have any kind of sponsorship. There goes that future potential sponsorship with New Balance or any shoe brand. But I think it does highlight something really important in all of this, which is that they're just shoes. What matters most is that it's comfortable. What matters most is that the shoes are comfortable for the runner. And at that point, one shoe brand might work better for someone else. I've never had New Balances before, and it's just a really comfortable shoe. I also went with it because it gives me enough meshy space kind of in the front. There's no heavy duty material pushing back on my foot, and my feet are quite wide. Anyways, whatever. Just kidding, I love them. They didn't treat their Gait Analysis like this super magic pill that was gonna solve all of my problems. Maybe she can show you this is how you're running and you're not even aware of how you're running, and that might be why you have pain in certain parts of your body. So it just provides that extra tool to show you what you've been doing. They looked at it very objectively as just an additional tool to help us find the right shoe, and kind of gave Nicola a starting point. Oh, you're running a little bit like this, so I'm gonna assume that maybe you need a little bit more support on this side. Because your foot is wide, you're probably gonna need a little bit more mesh in the body of the shoe. So I really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend going there to anyone looking for a pair of shoes and need assistance.